Howdy howdy, it's Crafty Grinding back again with an arena cutoff video for Marvel Contest of Champions. Today I cover the new arenas for Abomination and Iceman. So what I like to typically do with any of the new arenas is kind of compare them to previous arenas. And when it comes to 4-star feature and 3-star feature arenas, you're either a new champ or old champ, and it's pretty clear with Abomination he is an old champ. And then it gets a little trickier sometimes with the 4-star basic, like when we think of Psylocke when she recently came back, Cable, X-23. Are they going to be high interest, medium interest, low interest? And so some champions can be pretty tricky. When it comes to Iceman, though, kind of like Archangel, there was no trick about it. When it's Iceman, he's definitely got a lot of interest. There's a lot of folks that are going to drop the ball this weekend and just focus on grinding for Iceman. So when there's that type of interest, we're definitely talking a high interest 4-star basic champ. So now that I've kind of got these champions and these arenas categorized, now we can go back and look at some recent previous arenas that are similar to these to kind of figure out what we might be able to expect in terms of cutoffs for this round. So the closest, one of the, well, not the closest, but one of, but a past arena that was very similar to this was like with Electro. Now, the Hood, Electro and Hood arenas. Now, Hood is by no means as much interest in him as Dormammu, Archangel, and Iceman, but he was kind of close. In Electro, he was an old champion as well. We can kind of see here with the results. Electro was 7 million with a top 10% at 4.1 million. This is the 4-star feature. And then Electro, when you look at the 3-star, 675, 432. Don't pay so much attention to Hood because there's some variation in the 4-star basic, but really wanted to get a sense of these past arenas for those old champs. Then we go look at one more recently, and we had Falcon and Archangel, and you can see again with Falcon, with the old champion, he again 4-star feature and right around that 7 million with a top 10% around 3.7. And then the 3-star feature again right around 675, 673 was the actual cutoff with 449 for the 11 to 25%. But what we got with Archangel, though, when we look at the cutoff for the first round, it was real close to an all-time high with Gwenpool and Hyperion. The numbers that they had, we got over 6 million. This Archangel was the first time we got over 6 million for a 4-star basic arena since the account ban a couple months back. So again, we're back to 6 million. If we got to 6 million with Archangel, we're going to get to 6 million again with Iceman. And when we look at these, past results graphically, you can see with the 4-star feature old champs, they're pretty much similar, especially when going against the high interest champ in the 4-star basic. You've got a good kind of around 7 million for the 4-star feature, with right around 4 million, just a little under 4 million for that top 10%. And then for the 11 to 30%, you can see right around 1.6, 1.4. There was kind of a outlier, that 2 million, but even with the recent Crossbones arena, that went back down to the 1.5, 1.6 range. So I think that's more representative of what we can expect from a trend and not that 2 million outlier. Then when we come over to the 4-star basic, you can see just a gradual increase between the Hood, Dormammu, and Archangel when there's high interest, over 4 million. Cutover, you can see, but I would, again, I don't necessarily want to say that it's just a steady incline for high interest champs. I just think the Hood, there was a different level of interest compared to Dormammu, Archangel, and Iceman. And I think in this case, based off of what I've seen in the community, other folks talking about this arena, I think it's going to be very similar to Archangel again. So we can expect potentially even a bump higher as we've seen that steady increase, people's rosters increase, that kind of thing. And especially with Abomination on the opposite side with the other arenas, there'll probably be less focus on him and more focus on the Iceman arena. Regardless, though, you can see the 11 to 25%. It hangs right around that 1.6 million for most part. However, with Archangel, when we had that big spike up from 5 million to 6.1, that cutoff went up to almost 1.7 million. I think that might be representative of what we'll see this round. And then when we come over to the 3-star feature, again, it's just around 675, 690, 690,000 for the actual 10% to get the champ, and then that 11 to 25% hovers right around 450,000. So looking at these recent similar arenas, here are my predictions on what I think we can see this time for round 1. Abomination, even though we saw with Electro and Falcon around the 7 million, those guys have at least a little bit of utility left. Abomination is one of those just meh, horrible, not horrible, but not that very good champion, right? I mean, he's there's not a lot of value to him. Iceman, there's a lot of interest. I think there's just going to be not even 6 million might even be a stretch, to be honest with you. But based off of what we've seen in the past, even when there was some old, not a ton of utility left champions, they did get close to 7 million. Some with Miles Morales, it was right around 6 million. So 6 million for Miles Morales. I think Abomination, this might be a stretch, but I'm going to go ahead and set it based off of those 7 million numbers, even for Electro and Falcon. So I think it'll be 6 million for him in the 4-star feature. Top 10% we'll see come in right around that 3.7. And if you're interested in the 11%, you might want to go around 1.6 million, 1.5 million, especially if Abomination doesn't have that high of a cutoff for that top 800. Now, when we come over to Iceman, again, I think this is very similar to Archangel, with that just slight increase that we see as these numbers continue to grow. So I think that's 6.4 million. So it's going to be right along pushing with Hyperion for that all-time high for the 4-star basic. We might have a new all-time high for the 4-star basic arena cutoff first round with Iceman coming in at 6.4 million. Then with that, that'll push that 11 to 25% off of that 1.5 number, that last milestone, even up to 1.7 million. We've seen that in the past, as most recently with that Archangel arena. And then lastly, with the top 10% for the 3-star feature, 675 to get him, 450 will get you the 11 to 25% tier. Now, in terms of grind targets, again, these are predictions based off of those trends that we saw. So this is where I think the actual cutoffs will land. So to give you what you never want to play to the cutoff, you want to give yourself a couple 100,000, maybe a million for a buffer based off of who we're talking about. I don't think we have to worry about a million anymore given these numbers we're talking about. But with Abomination, if you really want him for some reason, don't do it. No, I'm teasing. But if you really, really want Abomination, you should probably even go to 7 million. I say 7.2 million because, again, just in case he does actually end up playing like a Falcon and Electro, they did get right under 7 million. So you want to go to 7.2. So in this case, you do want to go up an extra million, just because I think, in my opinion, the Abomination cutoff is going to be closer to 6 million. But if you really want to have him, and I'm wrong on that prediction, and he ends up getting player closer to 7, you probably want to go to that 7.2 number. And then for the top 10%, you want to go to 4 million. For the 11%, you want to go to 2 million. Now for Iceman, if you really want him, I was going to say 6.5, but that's real close to where I think the number might end up. I think if you really want him, some people are saying, I'm 7 million, 7 million. There's a lot of people in the community I'm hearing 7 million. However, I also have seen a handful of folks talk about low 6. So I think it's 6.7 if you really want him. And I mean, if you really, really want him and you've got the time and you've got the roster to do it, you might even want to go to 7 million, as unfortunate as that may sound. But then when you go to 11 to 25%, you want to go to the 1.9 million, because I think that number is going to be dragged up by the higher cutoff for the actual champ. And then when we look over to Abomination for the top 10% in the 3-star feature, 700,000 should work, and 500,000 for the 11 to 25%. These are my grind targets and predictions for the veteran bracket. And what I also like to do now is I personally have taken my newer account through the beginner bracket and intermediate brackets recently, plus a lot of good input from the community. Here are some rough ranges to play against. Again, I don't have the type of data that I do for the veterans bracket to put a better trend analysis, but at least this gives folks a rough ballpark to what to play against. And again, even my veteran bracket predictions and grind targets, they're just trend analysis, ballpark numbers anyway. They're not exact science, so even those numbers don't expect 100% to come through. We've seen exceptions occur all the time. Past results don't guarantee future results, kind of stuff, as any Wall Street analyst will tell you. But anyway, when we look at the beginner bracket, 245,000 for the 3-star feature Abomination, 900,000, maybe a tick higher for that Iceman 4-star basic. With the Abomination 4-star, you'll need to go to 1 million. And in the intermediate bracket, fortunately, I did see when there was an old champion, especially one with not a ton of utility like Abomination, you don't have to go all the way through the milestone rewards to get him in the 3-star feature. And for the 4-star feature, you can even go to 700,000. I was able to get Falcon for 650,000. And then lastly, the Iceman 4-star basic. That one you're going to have to grind a bit with in the intermediate bracket, similar to the veteran. Just not as high, obviously, but relatively for the intermediate bracket, a 1.5 million should be able to get you Iceman. So anyway, these are my thoughts on the new Abomination and Iceman arenas. Would love to hear your thoughts on the arenas. Any questions? Throw them on down in the comment section. And especially if anybody who feels Abomination is going to push higher than that 6 million, would love or maybe even go higher, maybe even go lower. I mean, some folks are saying he could go 3, 4 million. But anyway, would love to hear your thoughts about it in the comments. Let's talk about them in the comment section. And of course, if you like this video, I would really appreciate you clicking that thumbs up button. And if you like this video and others that I have in the channel, would really appreciate a subscribe. Other than that, thanks a lot for stopping by and have a great day.